chaiva narottama devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudiraye. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 2, text number 7 today. Everybody can repeat. Udava Uvacha Krishna Dummani Nimloche Gyaneshwa Jagarenaha Kim Nuna Kushalam Bruyam Gata Shri Sugriheshwaham Udava Uvacha Krishna Dummani Nimloche Gyaneshwa Jagarenaha Kim Nuna Kushalam Bruyam Gata Shri Sugriheshwaham Udava Uvacha Krishna Dummani Nimloche Gyaneshwa Jagarenaha Kim Nuna Kushalam Bruyam Gata Shri Sugriheshwaham Udava Krishna Dummani Nimloche Kim Nuna Kushalam Bruyam Gata Shri Sugriheshwaham Udava Vacha Krishna Dummani Nimloche Gyaneshwa Jagarenaha Kim Nuna Kushalam Bruyam Gata Shri Sugriheshwaham
Udava Vacha
Krishna Dummani Nimloche Kim Nuna Kushalam Bruyam Gata Shri Sugriheshwaham
Udava Vacha
Krishna Dummani Nimloche Gyaneshwa Jagarenaha
Kim Nuna Kushalam Bruyam
Gata Shri Sugriheshwaham Udava Vacha Sri Udava said Krishna Dummani the Krishna son Nimloche having said Gyanesu being swallowed Ajagarena great snake. Ha, in the past. Kim, what? Nu, else. Naha, how. Kushalam, welfare. Bruyam, may I say. Gata, gone away. Sri Su, Grihesu, in the house. Aham, I. Krishna Dumani Nimloche, Greeneshwa Jagarena, Kim Nuna Kushalam Bruyam, Gata Sri Su Griheshwam. Translation, please repeat. Sri Uddhava said, my dear Vidura, the Son of the world, Lord Krishna, has said, and our house has now been swallowed by the great snake of time. What can I say to you about our welfare? Sri Uddhava said, my dear Vidura, the Son of the world, Lord Krishna, has said, and our house has now been swallowed by the great snake of time. What can I say to you about our welfare? Srila Prabhupada's divine purport. The disappearance of Krishna, of the Krishna's son, may be explained as follows. According to the commentary of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Vidura was struck with great sorrow when he got the hint of the annihilation of the great Yadu dynasty as well as his own family, the Kuru dynasty. Uddhava could understand the grief of Vidura, and therefore he first of all wanted to sympathize with him by saying that after the sunset, everyone is in darkness. Since the entire world was merged in the darkness of grief, neither Vidura nor Uddhava nor anyone else could be happy. Uddhava was as much aggrieved as Vidura, and there was nothing further to be said about their welfare. The comparison of Krishna to the sun is very appropriate. As soon as the sun sets, darkness automatically appears. But the darkness is experienced by the common man does not affect the sun itself, either at the time of sunrise or of sunset. Lord Krishna's appearance and disappearance are exactly like that of the sun. He appears and disappears in innumerable universes. And as long as he is present in a particular universe, there is all transcendental light in that universe. But the universe from which he passes away is put into darkness. His pastimes, however, are everlasting. The Lord is always present in some universe, just as the sun is present in either the eastern or the western hemisphere. The sun is always present either in India or in America. But when the sun is present in India, the American land is in darkness. And when the sun is present in America, the Indian hemisphere is in darkness. is the sun appears in the morning and gradually rises to the meridian and then again sets in one hemisphere while simultaneously rising in the other. So Lord Krishna's disappearance in one universe and the beginning of his different pastimes in another takes place simultaneously. As soon as one pastime is finished here, it is manifest in another universe. And thus, his Nitya Leela, or eternal pastimes, are going on without end, without ending. As the sunrise takes place once in 24 hours, similarly, the pastimes of Lord Krishna take place in a universe once in a daytime of Brahma, the account of which is given in the Bhagavad Gita is 4,300,000,000,000 solar years. But wherever the Lord is present, all his different pastimes are described in the revealed scriptures. But wherever the Lord is present, all his different pastimes is described in the revealed scriptures, take place at regular intervals. As at sunset, the snakes become powerful. Thieves are encouraged. Goats become active. The lotus becomes disfigured. And the Chakravarti laments. So with the disappearance of Lord Krishna, the atheists feel enlivened and the devotees become sorry. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport to the 59th sloka. Not 59, excuse me, no. That was page 59. From the 7th sloka of the 3rd chapter, 3rd canto, 2nd chapter, Srimad Bhagavatam, remembrance of Lord Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki. I offer my obeisances to the lotus feet of Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada, who has so dramatically opened the eyes of the entire world with the torch of knowledge. Just as when Lord Krishna disappeared, and this may be felt more by people in the Western Hemisphere, but just as when Lord Krishna disappears, the whole world is put into darkness, and as we see here, grief suffered by Yogindra, and previously we understood the grief of Arjuna and Yudhisthira. The Yadu dynasty, most of them didn't have to experience it because they left in a fit of madness due to the arrangement of providence. Neither did many of the great Kauravas, since they left in a fit of war 36 years previously. Still, Krishna's queens experienced it, although some pastime was arranged that was certainly ununderstandable to the common person, but all those queens were taken away after the demise of the Yadu dynasty and the disappearance of Lord Krishna. Only a few Yadus remain. Krishna's great-grandson, Vraja, something, his name. He established some deities of Krishna. Uddhava went to Bhadragashram from there sometime disappeared. Everybody was thrown into grief. Similarly, when Srila Prabhupada left the world, in the same way, it was like the sun setting. There was darkness. Certainly there were many stars and some as big as the moon, but nothing to compare to Srila Prabhupada. And so, more so in the Western Hemisphere, perhaps in the Eastern Hemisphere, certainly it was felt like that, but because there have been so many acharyas in the line of disciplic succession, all four Vaishnava lines, there may have been less of an experience of the same type or amount of grief. Perhaps. But certainly here in the Western Hemisphere, where Srila Prabhupada, he didn't only represent Krishna as the bona fide spiritual master, but practically speaking, no one had understood Krishna before Srila Prabhupada. So there was this extra burden, not exactly a burden or load, but this extraordinariness about Srila Prabhupada. That he was carrying Krishna, and without him, how could we possibly, many people would feel, even have Krishna? We only knew Krishna through Srila Prabhupada. If Srila Prabhupada left and was not proliferating or animating, putting into words the teachings of Lord Krishna, the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then many people were completely at loss. And you could cite example after example, practically speaking. Just on a local level, Bhushaya didn't know what to do with himself. He went off and joined the Navy. And it was incomprehensible to some people how we could go on. So it's a great darkness when Lord Krishna leaves. It's a great pleasure when he comes. I mean, after all, Krishna comes in many incarnations. He very seldom comes himself. So that's an extraordinary life, extraordinary son. But still, Krishna disappears, as Kalki, in one Kali Yuga, and the Satya Yuga manifests, just like the sun coming up on the horizon. People are all in Lavin, and at the height of the Sattvic Gun, or the greatness of the mode of goodness. It gives them great duration of life and sensual well-being, great health and power of mind and senses, to the extent that they can enter into very deep meditation for thousands of years with all of their bhakti or devotion. They can perceive the Lord within their very self. And by this very powerful meditation, they can go on to their next destination, either the spiritual world or some higher celestial existence in the Lord's material creation, depending on their desire. and Krishna incarnates. There are some incarnations in Satya Yuga. I'm not sure if I can think of any. Perhaps the Hamsa swan incarnation. Maybe the horse incarnation who brings the Vedas back. There's not as much need. Krishna comes to give pleasure to his devotees, so certainly that's a reason for him to come. But there's not as many demons to chastise in the Satya Yuga. I'm not sure if the Ranyakashipu appeared in that yuga. It's possible, because that was way before the churning of the ocean of milk, and that was the initiation or the beginning of the Asuric clan. So probably he appeared in the Satya Yuga, sometime in the entire universe. So those yugas are going on in the middle planetary system. Kali Yuga doesn't affect the celestial sphere, so I'm not sure how much those circumambulation of ages, act as some sort of designation of time in the celestial world, because time's, different. I'm sure they have some meaning, but I'm not sure exactly how that would be understood. So Krishna, he is there, and such a great yuga. As the yugas decline, Krishna is coming in Treta Yuga. He's coming as Ram, chastising Ravan and Kumbhakarna. And then in the next yuga, where there's a lot more vice to deal with, and we had the whole Mahabharata episode, then, again, Krishna is making a personal appearance in this particular day of Brahma. Krishna is coming in this day of Brahma and has disappeared. Otherwise, Vishnu would incarnate. So Krishna makes his appearance, and when he leaves, we're getting the impression. There's been a Satya Yuga, and there's been a Treta Yuga, now in Dwapara Yuga. Krishna is leaving, and all people, can see before them is darkness. Like sometimes we say you see the light at the end of the tunnel, but now all you see is darkness at the end of the tunnel. It's Kali Yuga. We can't understand, practically speaking. We can read the 12th canto and get a glimpse of how bad it is. But it's so bad. It's divided into 12 periods of 36,000 years. And only in the very beginning of the very first period does Lord Chaitanya's movement exist. So after that, you have this long, long length of time. You have most of the first period still to go. And you have 11 periods after that. There is simply so much un-God consciousness, or very secular, fanatical God consciousness. It's just indescribable the amount of militia and Yavin cultures that grow up and take over the earth and fight for supremacy. Some becoming dominant maybe for centuries or perhaps millenniums. Just in our little experience, we see the existence of dynasties lasting a few hundred or 1,000 years, like the Roman dynasty, or the Asok dynasty in India, or a particular dynasty in China, or the Khan dynasty out of Mongolia, or the various Arab dynasties as they fought with themselves and continue to fight with themselves to establish supremacy. It becomes a world of war that countries never can seem to bring about peace, even in the history of America. I mean, just lay it all out. There's only been a few years that there had been no war. And then people are economically constantly competing for the dollar or for the wealth. They know no peace. As Krishna says in the Gita, this asuric or demoniac mentality, it fills one up with so many materialistic desires that it's impossible to derive any peace. You know, one's always striving for some name, fame, fortune. We work ourselves to death for it, only to hope that in our next life we'll be given a better chance at it. So when Krishna leaves, that was what people had to look forward to, such a Kali Yuga. And within this Kali Yuga, despite the demise of Vedic culture, it was about to be completely liberated. Not liberated, but obliterated. You know, the Mughal dynasty, you know, the British Raj, it would have been just swept out into the ocean. But somehow or other, the Lord was so gracious, Lord Krishna was so gracious, that not only did he come, but he came as, you know, Nanda Kumar. He came as the darling of Raja. And he brought with him his greatest devotees, the cowherd damsels of Vrindavan. You know, to somehow ever make the world Krishna conscious. Practically speaking, the world had forgotten this Leela of Krishna. Completely. But Mahaprabhu came and completely immersed himself. When Nityananda, nobody could understand how this son of a Brahmin, born 2 hours from the Ganga or more. Those places are considered somewhat impious. They're not even on the Ganga. Nityananda appears in Eka Chakra. And from the very beginning of life, he's unbelievably Krishna conscious. No one can understand. How does he know these things? How can he feel these things? He feels these things to such an extent that his trance is so deep that people think he has died in remembrance of Lakshman being hit with the astra of Indrajit. And people don't know what to do. You know, he has stolen the affection from all the hearts of the people of that village. What to speak of his father and mother? They can't live without him. Just like Dasarath could not live without Ram. Nanda Maharaj could not live without Krishna. Yasoda couldn't live without him. So Nityananda's mother and father could not live without him. And all the people in the village could not live without him. He had stolen their affection. So to witness him collapsing, just due to the remembrance of Lakshman being hit by the astra of Indrajit, the people were consumed by their grief. And just like Vidura and Uddhava are consumed by the grief of Krishna's disappearance. They were consumed by the grief that this boy, this, I don't know, 10, 11, 12-year-old boy, where is he? He's gone. There's no consciousness. There's no breath. But when he returns, their life returns. So when he does leave, like Ram left, like Krishna left, then the people became broken-hearted. Just like Krishna's mother and father and Ram's mother and father. But it's meant to teach us people in Kali Yuga that Krishna's leaving can be utilized to more deeply remember Krishna. Because after all of us in Kali Yuga, we've never seen Krishna. It's been so long since we have seen Krishna that he has become completely forgotten. It's only because of one great devotee appearing like the sun that Krishna has been awakened in anyone's heart, practically speaking, in the Western Hemisphere. So when we get the example from all those associates of Krishna's Braj Leela who come here and teach us that remembrance of Krishna is none different from Krishna. We get the opportunity to hone that real meditation. It's not a meditation of just breath restraint and being able to manipulate the life air within the body, even to stop the inward and outward airs within the nostrils. But it's a meditation upon the transcendental form and pastimes and attributes, etc., of the Supreme Absolute Truth. It's none different from him. We get to experience to some small little degree, which is inconceivable to anybody in this world, the same experience that Krishna's friends, girlfriends, boyfriends, those with parental affection, aunts and uncles, fathers and mothers, those with some sort of service attitude like shopkeepers or workers, agriculturists, all those folks in Vrindavan, the same experience they had remembering Krishna. Or you can imagine the experience of the people in Ayodhya when Ram just vanished. For what, 14 years or 12 years? 12 years? 14 years. 14 years. That's a lot of time to, people living in the everyday world. It would be like if your child left now for 14 years. What would he look like when he came back? You might not even recognize him. So those people, they could only go on with the work because that's what Ram instructed them to do. He told them that, Bharat is in charge. That Bharat, the disgrace of his mother having done this, he couldn't take charge like that. Just for people to think that he was enjoying the kingdom was too much for him to bear. So his austerities become more pronounced than Ram. He doesn't shave his head. He doesn't wear clothes. No, he doesn't eat fine food. He manages the kingdom from the outskirts, taking permission from the sandals of Ram, and puts his younger brother in charge of making sure the thieves and rogues and foreign powers don't harm Ayodhya. And we have run out of time here, ladies and gentlemen. So just like that, when time ends, or when the time comes for Krishna to leave, and the world is put into darkness. When time comes for Srila Prabhupada to leave, we were all put into darkness. But just as Krishna is remembered by the Srimad Bhagavatam, so similarly, Srila Prabhupada is in his books. And when we read the Srimad Bhagavatam, not only do we get Krishna, but we get the experience of that great devotee. And we get to live in his ecstasy. It revives our remembrance of that absolute truth that had become completely dark within our mind and heart. And warms it up to a bright light by which again Krishna can be experienced. And the devotee's meditation becomes trillions of times greater than any of the modern day yogis. The devotees can really remember Krishna. And that is Krishna. There's no difference between the memory of Krishna, the remembrance of Krishna, and Krishna himself. So the devotee's meditation becomes real. And that the devotees of Srila Prabhupada will pass on, just as Srila Prabhupada passed it on to his devotees. The devotees continue to pass it on until this whole world becomes illuminated. Unbelievable that something like that could happen in the Kali Yuga. Unbelievable that the Kali Yuga could be halted and Krishna consciousness revived. But we better take advantage, because when it leaves, it will be bad. Worse than what we can imagine. And we don't want to wait around for the next yuga. There's too much pain and suffering. Krishna consciousness ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Lord Prema.